Well, good afternoon and welcome to Laredo, Texas. Unitrade Stadium is where we are at for the area round of the high school baseball playoffs. It is the Buda Johnson Jaguars taking on your very own Weslaco Panthers. I am Joe Aguilar, joined by none other than Mike Gonzalez, bringing you today's action.
Should be a great series, Joe. Both teams off of a by-district championship. We know the Panthers, I'm sure they're pretty exhausted from last week, having to win a hard-fought Game 3 that went into extra innings, but I know they're excited to be here for an area-round series.
Yeah, it is going to be a nice one. The weather is about 85 degrees. The sun has just popped out. The trip up here, Mike, you know this very well, it was very overcast.
Yeah.
And we were kind of wondering if it's going to rain. I was looking at the weather just a little while ago. About 4 o'clock is when they're expecting rain. The wind is coming out of the east-northeast at 12 miles an hour, blowing directly to left field. Let's go ahead and give you the defensive lineup for the home team today. It is the Buda Johnson Jaguars. In left, Gavin Plummer. In center, Thomas Schnabel. In right, it's Devin Bisbee. At third base, it's Brentley Oaks. Second baseman is Luke Lavasser. At first base, it's Cohen Beacom. At shortstop, Selvin Garrett. Ricky Montijo is behind the plate doing the catching. And on the mound, it is Anderson Burnt, a right-handed pitcher for the Jaguars. Your Panthers are going to bat in this order. Leading things off will be the center fielder, Toby Perez. Batting second, the left fielder, Evan Rodriguez. Batting third will be the pitcher, John Reyna. In the cleanup spot will be the second baseman, Diego Castillo. In the five-hole, the right fielder, Isaiah Garza. Batting sixth, the first baseman, Gael Villarreal. Seventh spot is going to be the shortstop, Joseph Banda. Batting eighth is going to be the third baseman, Luis Lopez. And batting ninth, doing the catching, is Evan Silva.
The scouting report on the starting pitcher, Anderson Byrne, is that he throws about 85 miles an hour, stands about 6'5", got good size. And so let's see how the Panthers lineup go against I would say Division I prospect, Joe, with that size and that arm.
Well, we are just about to get underway, and we are officially underway. The first pitch is a fastball on the outside part of the plate for strike one. The leadoff batter for your Weslaco Panthers is the center fielder, Toby Perez. That is right on the outside part of the plate as well, and that is strike two. So Perez finds himself behind in the count, 0-2.
The numbers on Perez is a team high 348 batting average, no home runs, 10 RBIs.
That misses low and outside for ball one.
Something we noticed right away, Joe, is just how hard he throws. We can hear the pop from up here in our upper deck area.
Swung at that one. The grounder to the second baseman, picked up by Lavasser, and he fires it to Beacom for out number one.
A nice job charging in from his second base side and got the glove in there and just tossed it to first for the first out of the game.
That'll bring up the left fielder, Evan Rodriguez.
The numbers on Evan is a 277 batting average, no home run with 8 RBIs.
Here comes the first pitch to Rodriguez. That's going to be outside for ball one.
So in talking to Coach Garcia yesterday afternoon, Joe, I asked him, well, what is it going to take to beat this team? And he's just like, well, fundamentals up to this point because every team is here for a reason.
That swung on also to Lavasser, the second baseman, and just like the first batter, tossed over to first base for out number two. So both leadoff batters, the first and second batter for your Panthers, a little late with the swing as they go straight to the second baseman, Lavasser, and he throws him out at first. So there's 2 outs here in the top of the first.
And notice he just takes his time because there's a lot of room to work with. It's 90 feet to first base and is able to just kind of come in and make the throw to first.
So that's going to bring up John Reyna, who's on the mound today. Reyna hits this one to right field. Fly ball in the direction of Bisbee. Bisbee makes the grab for out number 3. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for the Jaguars. Mike, he threw maybe 10 pitches at the most.
I would say at the most. Getting ahead of the count and then got the quick outs.
No hits. Nobody left on. Nobody came across. We played half an inning. No score, and the Jags coming to bat. Headed to the bottom of the first, and your Panthers will line up defensively like this. In left field, it'll be Evan Rodriguez. In center, Toby Perez. In right, Isaiah Garza. At third base, Luis Lopez. Second base, Diego Castillo. First base, Gael Villarreal. Joseph Banda is the shortstop. Ethan Silva's behind the plate doing the catching. And on the mound tonight for your Panthers, John Reyna. The Jaguars will bat like this. Gannon Plummer, Brentley Oaks, Selvin Garrett, Ricky Montijo, Thomas Schnabel, Anderson Burnt, Cohen Beacom, Joseph Cardona, and Luke Lavasser.
And the numbers on John Reyna is a 5-0 record with a 1.81 ERA, has worked 31 innings, has 43 strikeouts.
And the first two pitches, one is in there for a strike, the second one misses, and it's a both of them missing. I thought I'd seen him call strike, but no, I'm seeing things from up here. 2 balls, no strikes to the leadoff batter, Plummer. That misses high and outside, and now it is 3-0.
Reyna picked up the victory in Game 1, going all 7 innings, and had something like 12 strikeouts, I think, and has had a great career. Only a sophomore was named Newcomer of the Year, both in district and RGVsports.com.
He's behind in the count to the leadoff batter, 3-0. That is right there on the outside corner for strike one. Good-looking pitch there from Reyna. Strike two. Plummer thought he was on base via a walk, but home plate umpire said otherwise, and now the count is full. So Reyna coming back with two good-looking pitches in there for strikes.
Got the outside corner there.
So here comes the 3-2. Timeout called by the leadoff batter, Plummer. He steps out.
The dimensions, Joe, on this field is 405 straightaway center, 335 in the corners, 385 in the gaps.
Here comes the payoff pitch. Swung on, fly ball center field. In comes Perez, out goes Banda. Banda catches about 5 steps into the outfield.
So give credit to Reyna fighting back on that 3-0 count and getting Plummer to pop up to short.
Yeah, Mike, one of the things is, as you mentioned, he's just a sophomore in the area around. So, could have been a couple of jitters just as he started. So, good job by Banda, coming back and pitching 3 straight strikes. And, of course, like you mentioned right now, forcing that pop-up to Banda at short. And that'll bring up the third baseman, Brenly Oaks.
And both of these teams, Joe, probably aren't used to playing at this hour on a weekday. Probably may, unless you competed in a tournament earlier in the season, they'll play games around this time. But aside from that, all the games are in the late afternoon, early evening hours.
First pitch is high. It's funny you say that, Mike, because when you get into the playoffs, field availability is what becomes a problem.
Absolutely, and as a matter of fact, there's going to be a game after this.
Right, and that's why I said that. That is on the inside corner for strike one. Good-looking pitch from Reyna.
I think it was an inside fastball.
Right. And he just got Oaks' knees buckling there. Here comes the 1-1. Swung on, hit hard to left field, and that's going to be a base hit. So Oaks with the first hit of the afternoon, and that'll bring up Selvin Garrett, the shortstop for the Jaguars.
It's a Jaguars team that comes in with a 21-10 record, finished third in 29-6A, and are off beating Laredo United 2 out of 3 games. As we mentioned, both of these teams off brutal by-district series, but have earned the right to play and compete in this area round.
Yeah, good-looking squad from what I could see on some of the websites. Didn't catch any games, but caught some highlights. That is on the outside corner for strike one. And Coach was telling us before the game that they struggled in the season because of injuries to their pitching staff.
Yeah, so they lost their ace pitcher,
right.
And I think their number 4 pitcher.
And they got them back, but, of course, they're not 100% yet.
It takes time,
right.
Especially for pitchers to get back in the swing of things.
Nothing in 1 to count to Garrett. Good size lead by Oaks at first. That's on the outside corner for strike 2. So Reyna attacking that outside corner on Garrett. We saw him go with Oaks on the inside part of the plate. Now he's going to the outside part of the plate. So let's see what Reyna does here ahead of the count, 0-2. Right back to the pitcher. Goes to short for 1. Can they turn 2? Not in time. Good job by Reyna getting it to Banda. And Banda had to wait for that. Just could not get the speedy Garrett at first. So that's a fielder's choice.
Right. Great job by Reyna. Very patient. He got that grounder and just waited for that shortstop to get there. Waited for Banda to get there, as you mentioned, Joe. And, threw the ball. Got at least 1. Got that important force out at second.
And now there are 2 outs in the inning, and that'll bring up the catcher, Ricky Montijo.
And this is a player that the coach Austin Yeager from Buda Johnson spoke very highly about. Is the starting catcher, and just looking at him, he's got good size, has a good arm. I was watching him in the warm-ups, throwing the ball to first and third. He's one of the players moving on to the next level.
Playing at Temple
College, right.
Reyna gets the first one across for strike 1. Another fastball. Seems like the tempo is picking up on Reyna because they're popping a little louder. Runner goes, throw on its way. It's going to be behind the pitcher, and Garrett will go to third. So a throw behind the bag gets into center field, and Garrett goes all the way to third.
I don't know if you've noticed that it's starting to sprinkle a little
Yes,
bit.
I've
And
felt it.
I wonder if Silva is having some issues throwing the ball, perhaps. Maybe the ball's a little wet now. The sun is out, but
Yeah.
we're getting some raindrops.
0-2 is the count on Montijo. We've got a runner 90 feet away in Garrett. That is on the inside part of the plate, and Reina gets Montijo looking, and that's going to do it for the Jaguars. They do get one hit, leave one runner stranded, but more importantly, nobody comes across. We've played one inning of baseball here in Laredo, and no score between the Jaguars and your Panthers. We head to the second inning. No score between the Jags and your Panthers. And the Panthers are going to send up Castillo, Garza, and Villarreal 3, 4, and 5. 4, 5, and 6 right here in the second inning. And the first pitch from Burnt is low for ball one.
Castillo has one triple with the bat.
Second pitch on the outside corner for strike one. 1 ball, 1 strike is the count to Diego Castillo.
He comes in with a .333 batting average with 1 home run and 18 RBIs.
That is going to be a base hit in the left field. So your Panthers have their first hit of the afternoon. But as we've mentioned before, always good to get your leadoff batter on.
Whether it's a walk or if it's a hit or an error, as long as you get on, you give your teammates an opportunity with nobody out.
That'll bring up Isaiah Garza, the right fielder. Left-handed batter for your Panthers.
Comes in with a .276 batting average with 1 home run and 17 RBIs.
Going back to try to get Castillo. He's in there safely. First pitch to Garza is in there for a strike.
Notice the third baseman playing in the grass area in front of the bag.
Another pitch right exactly in the same spot that he threw the first one. And that's strike two. Going back to first base, and again, Castillo in there safely. Nothing in 2. Swung on and fouled back. Count will remain at no balls and 2 strikes.
Was able to get a piece of it, stay alive.
Burnt looking over to first. Rocks and deals. Swung on again. This one's fouled back again. And the count will remain again. Nothing in 2.
Sitting right behind home plate in the upper deck, we might have an opportunity to get a few souvenirs before this is all over, Joe.
Well, if we don't get one, I at least took a picture of one. The box was right down there. 0-2 once again. And back to first goes Burnt. And again, Castillo in there safely. You talked about the third baseman, Oaks, being up. Maybe they're anticipating some kind of hit and run, maybe a bunting him over, a little small ball action, because Castillo does take a good size lead there at first. Here comes the 0-2. That's a grounder to first. They're going to go to second for 1, and they got the double play. 1-6-2. I'm sorry, 3-6-2.
I like the idea of going to that side because being that the runner they were holding him at first, he was trying to go through that hole, but hit it just too close to the first baseman and was able to get the grounder and execute that double play.
That'll bring up Gael Villarreal.
And he's off a big series, Joe. He had 5 RBIs against San Benito.
First pitch is in there for a strike.
Comes in with a team high, 5 home runs and a team high 21 RBIs. Is batting .260 for the season.
Swung on, fouled back. This is going to go into the parking lot. So no souvenir for you, Mike.
No. Hit it a little too hard. We got the netting in front of us.
Yeah. Did you bring your glove?
No glove. I should have. If I would have known.
Tomorrow.
Nothing
into the count. Swung on and missed, and they did get a hit, but it's still a 1-2-3 inning again. 1 hit, no runners left on, nobody scored. We played 1.5 here in Laredo. Still no score between the Jags and your Panthers. We'll be right back. We head to the bottom of the second. It'll be Schnabel, Burnt, and Beacom for the Jaguars. Batters 5, 6, and 7. First pitch just a bit inside for ball one. Swing and a miss, strike one. 1 ball and 1 strike on Schnabel.
This isn't the first time, Joe, that the Panthers have played on this field before. They've played here in tournament play.
That's going to be inside for ball two.
But it's been a while, Joe. I think it was before the pandemic.
Okay,
where Coach Serna would bring his club here to compete in what they call the Border Olympics tournament.
That's right. I remember that tournament.
Right. And so they would come here every year, but they haven't come since the pandemic time. So the coaches are familiar with it, but just not the players.
Swung on, fouled down the third base side of the field. The count now is 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, we always talk about how a lot of these teams, especially in the Valley, like to take advantage of going out of town and play in some tournaments.
Breaking ball gets Schnabel swinging, and that is the second strikeout for Reina tonight. And he got the first batter here in the second, and that'll bring up the pitcher, Anderson Burnt.
Yeah, that pitch was, as you mentioned, a breaking ball outside. Got him to swing and miss. A great pitch by Reina. I assume it's Reina's mom that's down here with her camera. She has a noisemaker as well, but she's with her camera getting some shots of her loved one.
Good looking pitch on the inside part of the plate. Strike one to Maltraca. I'll give you that story in a little bit. Swung on and missed. That was a slow hanging curveball from Reina. That's the first time I see that tonight or this afternoon.
Yeah, he's
but he got burnt way out in front of that one.
Yeah, he was ahead of that pitch.
Here comes the 0-2. That's going to be outside for ball one. I think Reina threw that one on purpose to see if he could get him to chase it.
Well, you notice the catcher kind of standing up a little bit, kind of half stands, just getting that pitch there. But still ahead of the count.
Reina rocks and deals. Swung on. It's going to be in the left center gap. And that's going to be extra bases for Burnt. He's going to have himself a double.
A great job by the Panther outfielders getting the ball as quickly as possible.
Yeah, Evan Rodriguez running over there and snagging that one to bring it in because, as we mentioned, that was going to be extra bases for Burnt, and they kept him to a double.
It's like we got a courtesy runner, number 2. And I have it as Grayson Laborde. Laborde, I hope I pronounced it correctly. Spelled L-A, capital B-O-R-D-E.
Grayson Laborde.
Laborde, okay.
And that'll bring up Cohen Beacom, the first baseman. 1 out here in the second inning. Swings at the first pitch, knocks it back into the netting for strike one.
And now you have the first baseman now standing on the grass area, playing a little in. Everybody else playing their normal positions.
That's in there for strike two. Reina took some off of that one. Not sure if that was a changeup or not.
I like the fact that he's been ahead of the count for pretty much the first 2 innings of this ball game.
Except for the first batter, just about. And we talked about being a sophomore, maybe just a little jitters as he gets out here in the area around. Swing and a miss, strike 3. That is the third strikeout recorded by Reina this afternoon. And that'll bring up the designated hitter, Joseph Cardona.
He got him in 3 pitches. Strike 1, strike 2, and wham, got him swinging the strike 3.
Yeah, it looks like Reina's starting to find himself in a comfort zone on the mound today. Cardona, a left-handed batter, the designated hitter for the Jaguars. First pitch, high and outside for ball one.
It's a work day, Joe. It's Thursday, but there are some Panther fans here. They brought their umbrellas. They brought their noisemakers. And, they're being pretty loud.
Yeah, some Jaguar fans as well right underneath us. That one is fouled back, and that, too, is going to make its way into the parking lot. That one might be in the suburban of KWES.
Well, we might have a couple of balls next to us when we get back after this game. They even have some trucks parked out there. They're doing a little advertisement selling some trucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully when we get back, there won't be no cracked window or anything.
That is outside for ball 2. Count is 2 balls and 1 strike to Cardona. Good looking pitch from Reyna, and that buckled the knees of Cardona, and he wanted to swing, but he couldn't. And now the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. His knees just froze, and they buckled.
And keep an eye on Banda at shortstop. He's kind of sneaking behind the base runner there, positioning himself for a possible pickoff over there.
That's going to be outside to make the count full. Reyna steps off the mound for a bit, collects his thoughts. Now he walks back up. Here comes the payoff pitch. Swung on. That's going to be fouled down the first base side of the field. And the count will remain 3 balls and 2 strikes. We're talking about the noisemaker. It's a maltraca, Mike. I learned that back in my White Wing days. We had a guy that I went to high school with that would come out to the games every night. He's a mariachi player, and he had one, and that's where I learned about that.
Wow.
This was back in the mid to late 90s.
Wow.
So it's been a while.
I think the first time I ever heard those noisemakers was when I covered Port Isabel football back in 2003.
Swung on and fouled back. Count will remain full.
And a lot of those fans, I mean, they're really passionate fans over there in Port Isabel. That was a season they went to the state semifinal, and I was the beat writer for the Valley Morning Star. 3A was my beat, and I covered many Port Isabel games. A lot of their fans had those noisemakers, and that was the first time I ever heard that.
So the count is full. There are 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Runner at second in Laborde. And it's Cardona at the plate. Still no score in this ball game. That is outside, ball 4. So now there are runners at first and second with 2 outs. And that'll bring up the 9th batter in the lineup, Luke Lavasser. He is the second baseman for the Jaguars.
Now batting is number 10, Luke Levasseur.
Well, now you have a force out at third, second, or first.
Right. First pitch to Lavasser is high. Public address announcer pronounced his name Levasseur. So not sure which is the correct pronunciation. I'll just go with Lavasser because that's how I started.
Stick to the plan.
Swung on, foul ball. That's right over me and behind me. Strike 1.
I'm telling you, Joe, we're going to have some opportunities. You're right. We should have brought our glove.
I might bring it tomorrow, Mike.
Yeah. Bring one for me if I'm not able to get mine.
I don't know if I will even be able to find my glove. I might have to bring my granddaughter's little pink glove. Yeah. 1-1 count to Lavasser. Swung on, third baseman, picked it up. He dropped to his knees, picked it up, and tagged the bag. Fourth out, number 3. No runs, 1 hit, 2 runners left on here in the second inning. We head to the third. No score between the Jags and your Panthers. Panthers coming to bat here in the top of the third inning. It'll be batters 7, 8, and 9 for your Panthers. Joseph Banda, Luis Lopez, and Ethan Silva.
Numbers on Banda are .293 batting average, 1 home run, and 13 RBIs.
Another left-handed batter for your Panthers, the shortstop, Joseph Banda. Swing at the first pitch and misses for strike 1. Good-looking breaking ball from Burnt.
Yeah, I want to give credit to Luis Lopez on that last out in the last half of the second inning. Great job.
Swing and a miss, strike 2.
Great job getting to his knees and getting that grounder, putting the glove down, and getting that force out at third to end the inning.
2 slow breaking balls from Burnt got Banda swinging and missing, so 0-2 is the count to him. That's going to be outside for ball 1. One-two pitch on its way. That's going to be low for ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. You're mentioning the umbrellas for the Panther fans. The Jags fans are underneath the awning over here because the sun gives them some shade over there.
Yeah, there's some shade more to our right side.
Yeah, the first base side.
Correct, the first base side.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. That's the second strikeout for Burnt here in this ball game. That'll bring up Luis Lopez. You're talking about his defense right now, Mike.
Right. Comes in with no home runs and 4 RBIs. Does have 5 doubles. So it does have some pop.
We even have some Panther fans that moved over here to the first base side.
Yeah, they're smart.
Yeah. Here comes the first pitch to Lopez. That is high for ball 1.
Just a reminder to the fans that tomorrow for game 2 is a 6 o'clock start. And we'll be live here on Facebook and YouTube.
Outside ball 2. And I want to say one of those fans out there is head football coach Roy Stroman as well.
Oh, okay. Coach Stroman made the trip over here.
Yeah, it looks like him over there. That is in there for strike 1. 2 balls and a strike to Luis Lopez.
I thought I had seen him earlier in the dugout area, probably wishing the team luck.
That's going to be low in the dirt for ball 3. You know, this is one of the more different fields because you do have artificial turf, but you also have dirt.
Yeah, it looks like dirt in the home plate area and
around the
in
bases.
the bases as
Yes.
well. There's dirt, and then if you notice, there's like the other brown area is asphalt tip. I don't know if that's the same turf or some.
It's artificial turf.
Okay, so it's the same turf as the green,
Right.
correct? The green
Correct,
area.
yeah.
Okay, so all that area is turf, and then you have that brown dirt area, as you mentioned.
Yeah, around the bases you do have dirt. Everywhere else is artificial turf.
I saw that they were working on them before the game. You notice that they put the chalk thing, and now it's kind of coming off.
Full
behind home
count,
plate.
pitch on its way, swung on, down to the first base side, picked up by Beacom, and he did a good job because he had to move over to his left and then had to try to backhand it, and I want to say he got a hop into his forearm.
Yeah, he did. Very good athletic play. As you mentioned, a backhand. And a good strategy by Lopez, trying to go the opposite way down the line.
And that'll bring up the catcher, Ethan Silva, with 2 outs. And a lot of that, Mike, is due to the fact that it bounces off the turf differently than it does off the dirt.
That's true. So perhaps there was a bouncer or two off the dirt.
First pitch missing for ball 1.
And Silva does have 7 RBIs, 3 triples, and 3 doubles.
Swing and a miss, strike 1. He took a big hack at that one. He wanted to hit it 410 feet.
He was aiming for that board back there behind the center field wall.
Exactly.
I don't know if it's a board or a wall or.
Here comes the 1-1. That's going to be outside for ball 2. Two balls and a strike to Silva. Pitch on its way. Swung on and missed, and the count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And now the clouds are beginning to take over.
Yeah, the sun has come out on and off. As you mentioned, Joe, right when the game started, it's probably the brightest that we've seen it since we arrived here in Laredo. But as you mentioned, overcast most of the trip. We're expecting some thunderstorms later on this evening.
2-2, swung on, fly ball, going to be out of play. Count remains the same at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now, one of the things I was also going to mention, aside from it being overcast, looks like the wind has shifted just a bit, and it's starting to blow in.
It's still kind of blowing toward left, but as you mentioned, more in versus straight to the corner.
You can see the flags beginning to shift a little bit. 2 balls, 2 strikes is the count to the catcher, Ethan Silva. Breaking ball, missing high, and the count now is full.
So if you're going to hit a home run, you're going to have to really hit it hard. Most of the home runs, I'm told, are to the left field in this stadium.
Here comes a payoff pitch from Burnt. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And it's a 1-2-3 inning. And that's going to do it for your Panthers. We played 2.5. Still no score between the Jags and the Panthers. We'll be right back. We head to the bottom of the third, and it'll be the top of the order for the Jaguars, Plummer, Oaks, and Garrett. Plummer is 0 for 1. He flew out to the shortstop his first time at the plate back in the first inning. First pitch, good-looking breaking ball from Reyna in there for strike one.
You notice Lopez at third base in the grass once again.
Outside, ball one.
The Panthers come in with a 19-10-1 overall record. Finished the season tied for second with Edinburgh. PSJA Bears were the district champs this year.
Swung on and missed for strike two. 1 ball, 2 strikes is the count to Gannon Plummer.
As we mentioned, beating the Greyhounds 2 out of 3. Coach Garcia joked with me that after the series, the guys needed treatment like ice and stem work because it was so exhausting and so excruciating. They played a doubleheader Friday. So the game 1 took place in Weslaco, got the win there, lost 4-0 in game 2. And then that game 3 was in extra innings. That went about 3 hours or so. It finished around midnight, I think.
Yeah, it was a late game. We were in Corpus. Swung on and fouled back. It's going to be out of play, and the count now is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, it did go pretty late, close to midnight. I remember being in the room in Corpus as we were covering the girls' softball last weekend. And as soon as that game was over, I said good night, and I was out.
Imagine how the players felt.
1-2 pitch on its way. Outside, count is 2-2.
Yeah, because game 2 started at 5 p.m., so it was a 5 o'clock start, and it was a pretty hot day, so the sun was still out. They finished that game and then had to play a game 3. Because if you remember, Joe, there was a threat of bad weather.
Right. Inside and count is full. Kind of like this weekend as well.
Yeah. Tonight, I think once we get through tonight, I think we'll be okay the rest of the way.
Just like last weekend, it was one day.
It was at one
and it was overnight as well.
Yeah,
remember?
I think Saturdays. Yeah, overnight Friday night into
exactly,
Saturday is
right.
what they were worried about. So that I know, let's play a doubleheader Friday. So they agreed to it and did just that.
Full count on its way, swung on and fouled back into the netting, and it'll be 3-2 once again. Reyna got a ball he liked. Now we're ready to go. From the windup. Here comes Reyna. Swung on again, fouled back out of play.
Plummer doing his best to stay alive, really fighting. Reyna's trying to get that leadoff hitter out.
That's always nice to be able to do that.
So this is like about the 4th pitch or so in a 3-2 count.
We'll do 3-2 as Mike said once again. Ball 4. So the Jaguars have their leadoff batter on, and that'll bring up Brenly Oaks. Oaks singled. He's 1 for 1 to left his first time at the plate back in the first inning. Then was thrown out in an attempted double play.
Now batting is number 22, Brenly Oaks.
First
Oaks,
pitch in there for a strike.
You see Oaks there showing bunt. And Luis Lopez at third, playing in the grassy area, was kind of coming in.
So Reina gets the first one in there for a strike. Going back to first, Plummer back in safely. Swung on, fly ball. It's in the infield. First baseman, Garrial, calls everybody off, but he cannot hang on to it.
Good communication. Called everybody off.
Reina goes over to tell him to shake it off.
Yeah, that's what you do. That's what you do as a teammate. Especially good, Joe, when it comes from your own pitcher.
Yeah, and he went way out his way to make sure that he did that, though.
It's kind of one of those things where, hey, it's okay, shake it off. I got this. Don't worry about it.
0-2 is the count to the batter, Oaks. Got him in a rundown. Good job there by Villarreal chasing him back. And then he finally dumps it off to Banda. And so they got him picked off, Plummer. So the leadoff batter did get on via walk, but they picked him off.
And Gael played that perfectly, Joe.
He did.
I mean, he was patient, kind of running him down, looking at Plummer, when Plummer had no choice but go towards second. And at the perfect time, threw it to Banda and was able to apply the tag. But great move by Reina.
Yeah, great move by Reina. Get it started. You're absolutely correct there. Swing and a miss, strike 3. That is 4 strikeouts for Reina this afternoon. And now with 2 outs, that'll bring up the shortstop, Selvin Garrett.
I think Reina was so excited with the sweet sequence we had the last 2 plays that he was already walking towards the dugout thinking it was out number 3.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Who can blame him, right?
Sometimes you just get a little ahead of yourself. I know we do that from up here sometimes.
I mean, you think about it, Joe. I mean, you had a runner at first with nobody out, and all of a sudden there's 2 outs.
That's going to be a base hit right up the middle as Garrett goes after the first pitch.
So that shows how big that pickoff was.
Yes, absolutely. And Garrett, remember, he stole second and went to third on the errant throw. So he's a force to be reckoned with on the bases. And that'll bring up the catcher, Ricky Montijo. He struck out looking back in the first inning. He's 0 for 1 tonight, or this afternoon. Even we're not used to afternoon games.
It's a big adjustment.
First pitch inside for ball 1.
See, we're used to Saturday afternoon games if needed. Well, we're not used to Thursday afternoon games.
Yeah, this isn't the major league where you got the business days or the travel days, whatever you want to call
it.
Runner going, swing and a miss. Here comes a throw, not in time. So Garrett has himself 2 stolen bases this afternoon.
As many know, I'm a diehard Chicago Cubs fan, and so I grew up watching Cubs baseball during the daytime on WGN. And that's how it was for so many years until they finally got lights in 1988.
Swung on. Gael Villarreal cannot get to it. He'd made a great effort as that ball was just tailing away in foul territory. But, man, did he get there quick.
If only he had one more step.
Yep.
If the ball stayed up just a little bit longer. But as you mentioned, Joe, great effort.
So 1 ball, 2 strikes to Montijo. Swung on. That's fouled down the third base side. And the count will remain 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Up to this point, the Jaguars have left 3 runners on base, and Reyna's hoping could be number 4. 1 strike away.
So the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes on Montijo. There are 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. Garrett stealing. Swung on, and that's going to be a base hit to left, and Garrett's going to score. Smart base running there by Garrett.
Well, he had such a big lead that when Montijo hit the ball, he was already rounding third. So as you mentioned, great heads-up running there.
Yeah, because he saw that Reyna was in the windup, and he took off.
Yeah, I mean, he was already halfway when Reyna was still in his windup and still delivering that pitch.
So the Jaguars get the first run across. They're up 1-0 here in the bottom of the third. And that'll bring up Schnabel. He is 0 for 1 tonight, struck out in the second inning. First pitch, missing high for ball 1. Missing low for ball 2. Two balls, no strikes to the batter, Thomas Schnabel. Inside for ball 3.
Yeah,
Silva going to go out there and talk to him.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I think Silva just wants to settle Reyna down. When we talk about how he's done a great job being ahead of the count on most of these hitters, and now, is having a little bit of control issue here, so he just needs to tell him that, hey, remember, there are 2 outs. There's still a lot of baseball left to play.
Mike, you were mentioning the Wrigley Field. Well, I grew up in a suburb of Chicago, Park Forest, Illinois, and I remember being in elementary school at Black Hawk Elementary. This was right before we moved to Texas. And the Cubs, I think, were battling for a playoff spot. And we get out of school about 2:30, and we run to my friend's house to go watch some ball games on TV. First pitch back after the timeout is in there for strike 1. So good job there by Silva calming down his pitcher, Reyna.
So the voice you were probably familiar with was Jack Brickhouse.
Yes.
I was more familiar with Harry Carey.
Yes. Well, both of them.
Both of them.
Runner going, swung on. This is fouled back. Runner's going to have to come back.
It was likely a hit and run.
Yeah, exactly. And Parker George is the pinch runner out there running for the catcher, Montijo. So after going behind 3-0, now it's a full count. Payoff pitch. Swung on, fouled back. Full count once again.
The Jaguars really making Reyna work hard these last few at-bats. We know in baseball that there's a pitch count that they always keep an eye on.
Runner going, swung on, fly ball. Mike, this is right in front of you, Mike. Whoa. That knocked off the cup holder.
Yeah, we heard that. And speaking of Harry Carey, I don't know if you remember, Joe, that he used to bring a fishing net.
Yes.
And that's how he got some of those souvenirs.
Well, when I had my first child, my first boy, because my first child's a girl, we went up there to Wrigley Field so I could have him experience Harry Carey, and we sat right in front of him.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I got to see him in my first ever Cubs experience in Houston. I saw him from a distance, but, that was my only Harry Carey.
I made it a point that we would get tickets right underneath.
Oh, I bet that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Full count to the batter, Schnabel. Runner going. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And that'll do it for the Jaguars. But they do get a run on a couple of hits, leave a man stranded. We go to the 4th inning, and it's Jaguars 1, your Panthers 0. Go to the 4th inning. Panthers to bat. Top of the order coming up. 1, 2, and 3. Toby Perez, Evan Rodriguez, and John Reyna. Perez grounded out to the second baseman. He's 0 for 1 tonight. Swung on and fouled the first pitch back, so its count is 0-1. That is a base hit to left field. So again, your Panthers get the leadoff batter on.
Great effort by Oates at third base. But Perez put it in a perfect spot. The ball went underneath the glove. So the Panthers, the leadoff hitter on.
And that'll bring up Evan Rodriguez. He too grounded out to the to the second baseman back in the first inning. So nobody out, runner at first. Showing bunt. That's a fly ball into foul territory. Lands safely. You know, we were talking about afternoon games. Yesterday, the Astros had an afternoon game and had a great game. Framber pitched a doozy.
Who'd they play?
They played the Brewers.
The Brewers. Oh, thank you, Astros, doing us a favor.
9-1 was the final there. Again, that pitch is fouled back as Rodriguez tries to bunt it down the third base side. Weslaco trying to go a little small ball here in the 4th.
And Oaks is playing pretty far in. As the pitcher was delivering the pitch, he would take a few more steps closer, but now you notice he's kind of going back.
Yeah, because
still in the grass area, but closer to the bag.
Yeah, more than likely the bunt is off by now.
Right.
With 2 strikes. That's going to be a fly ball down the first base side, and it's going to go out of play.
I have a fan over there with a dog.
I noticed that she went back, and I saw the dog on her leash, and I'm
How
like, hey,
cool.
There's a dog there in the park.
Pet-friendly place.
Usually they don't allow that.
Yeah. Assuming that it's a high school game, so maybe they're a little more lenient, but
it's a Thursday afternoon as well.
Thursday afternoon, everybody's working, kids are at school. I'm told that, as we talked about, Joe, is it semi-pro team? Or I think it's kind of the way they compared it was like a AAA.
Right,
the Tecos play here.
Yes.
Play half of their season home games here.
That's another grounder to the second baseman by Rodriguez. Goes to short for 1, and they turn the double play again. So 2 double plays this afternoon by the Jags. So a great job there by Levasseur to Garrett to Beacom. 4-6-3.
Now batting number 32.
And that'll bring up John Reyna. Reyna flew out to right field his first time at the plate.
Going back to the stadium, they say that they pack about 7,000 people here for the Tecos home game. So they play half of their home games here, and the other half is in Nuevo Laredo. Yeah.
You know, Laredo's a big baseball town. I remember when the White Wings were still in action and they had the Broncos here. Yes. And a lot of people would travel from Harlingen up here to come watch the games, and I did that a few times. Swing and a miss, strike 2. 0-2 is the count. And, Laredo, they didn't play in this stadium, obviously.
Right.
They played in a smaller, older stadium that they have down by the river. But yeah, they would pack it out, a good 3,500 people. Swung on, fly ball to center field. That's Schnabel, and he reaches over and grabs that one for out number 3. But your Panthers do get 1 hit, leave nobody stranded, get nobody across. We head to the bottom of the 4th, 1-0, Jags on top. Bottom of the fourth inning, and the Jags will send 6, 7, and 8. Anderson Burnt, Cohen Beacom, and Joseph Cardona, all to face John Reyna. First pitch swung on. It's a dribbler into the middle of the infield, and Burnt is going to be on safely.
Yeah, tough play for Reyna. Great effort.
Tough play for everybody.
Yeah, no matter how fast you are coming off of that mound, or even for Silva, the catcher, just the ball was placed at a perfect spot. And so Burnt gets on with an infield single.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a foul ball, but apparently it hit out in the grass. I mean, out in the dirt. That'll bring up Beacom. Beacom is 0 for 1. He struck out back in the second inning. And that's an airplane. We're right by the airport. You can hear that one.
Yeah, we're by the airport and we're by the arena here.
Sames or Sam's, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
So the Jags have their leadoff batter on. Beacom, a left-handed batter. Swings at the first pitch, misses for strike one.
I want to give a shout-out, Joe, real quick to the kids at Northbridge Elementary. They're watching our broadcast in Coach Calderon's PE class. Hope they're enjoying the broadcast and they're learning a little bit about baseball. Wonder if Coach Calderon's going to make them write an essay or something, or a research paper about baseball. Or I'm just kidding. It's the end of the year. They should be having fun.
Either that or it might be raining, so they can't go outside.
That's a good point. That is a very good point. I mean, it's.
But either way, they're watching baseball.
Yeah, they're watching us. Hope they're enjoying the broadcast. Good playoff, second round area round baseball.
Swung on, and that's going to be fouled down the first base side of the field. And now the count is 0-2.
It's his PE class, and physical education, physical activity is very important.
Maybe a couple of future Lady Panthers softball
Sure.
players and Panther baseball players.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of dreaming about what it would be like to play in the area round of the state high school baseball playoffs.
With airplanes flying over you and playing at a nice facility like this.
Good looking breaking ball gets Beacom looking. So Beacom's been struck out twice this afternoon. Once swinging and once looking. And with one out, that'll bring up the designated hitter, Joseph Cardona. Another left-handed batter on this Jaguar baseball squad. Swings at the first pitch, fouls it back, out of play, strike one.
So great job by Reyna getting that strikeout after the leadoff hitter reached base.
Swung on, fouled back, out of play. That one hit the suite up there and bounced right back in.
Yeah, they have a number of suites all around the facility.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it is used at the AAA level, so you would expect something like this.
And I just got confirmation by Coach Calderon that, yes, it is raining in Weslaco, so that's probably why they're inside watching us. So, well, Mother Nature doing what it has to do, but our kids are still taken care of.
Ball one, high and outside, but a good call by Coach Calderon to say, hey, let's put on the baseball game.
Not a bad idea.
You're right, exactly.
Yeah, there's only about 2 more weeks left of school. Today's Thursday, so 2 weeks from tomorrow is the last day at Weslaco ISD.
Runner going, the ball is hit, and that's going to be fouled into the stands over there in the the right field area. So the runner is going to have to come back.
And the lady that had the dog is the one that's getting the ball. I wonder where her dog is at. Hopefully it's at a safe place.
Probably chilling in the shade somewhere. and it's Laborde is the pinch runner. Remember, Burnt was the guy that had that infield hit, so he's a pitcher. So they got a pinch runner for him in Laborde. And the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes to the designated hitter, Cardona.
Now it's very gloomy out here, pretty overcast.
And now the flags are really blowing in. Here comes the 1-2 once again. Swung on, that's going to be foul again down the first base side of the field. And the count will remain 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And time is called. Trying to get the foul ball out of here. Kind of bounced off the padding and went back into right field.
There's the dog out there walking.
By himself?
No, maybe with the husband.
Oh, okay.
You had me kind of looking for him now, Mike. 1 ball, 2 strikes is the count to Cardona. Swung on and fouled back and caught by Silva, so that's strike 3. And with 2 outs, runner at first, that'll bring up Lavasser, the second baseman. Reached on a fielder's choice his first time at the plate.
I have Reina for 7 strikeouts now, Joe.
That is correct. I've got him for 7 as well.
In 3 2/3 innings.
So doing a great job on the bump today is Reina. Runner going, throw on its way, and Laborde has a stolen base. Almost slid a little too far. That back leg had to kind of stay on there. So that'll put Laborde in scoring position with 2 outs. 1 ball is the count. Inside for ball 2.
And that's a pretty good gamble by Buda Johnson with 2 outs. Why not? Send a runner at first and, see if you could put yourself in position for another score, for another run.
Yeah, because runs aren't easy to come by in this one here. High for ball 3.
You do see Diego Castillo and Villar coming over.
Having a few words there with Reina.
Now you see the umpire kind of come out.
Everybody going back to their position. So here we go. 3-0 is the count to Lavasser. Ball 4. So runners at first and second, and we go to the top of the order. It'll be Gannon Plummer. He's 0 for 1 tonight and a walk. Here comes Coach Garcia. So a timeout on the field. As they take a timeout on the field, we're going to take one as well. Panthers down 1-0 here in the bottom of the 4th. You're enjoying area round of the high school state playoffs right here on KWES. After the timeout, again, as we mentioned, it'll be top of the order. Gannon Plummer at the plate, 0 for 1 tonight and a walk. Swings at the first pitch. Misses for strike one.
And keep an eye on Buda. We saw this earlier where he would kind of sneak behind the second base bag. Trying to keep that runner on.
Outside corner, strike two.
Good pitch by Reina after falling behind or giving up a walk in 4 pitches. Now ahead 0-2. Plummer.
So Reina ahead in the count. Plummer calls timeout. They give it to him. He steps back. Back in the box. Here comes the 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. So that's going to do it for the Jags. They get 1 hit, leave 2 runners stranded, bring nobody across, and we've played 4 here in Laredo. It is the area round of the state high school baseball playoffs. And at the end of 4, it is the Jaguars 1, your Panthers nothing. Panthers coming to bat in the top of the 5th order. Diego Castillo, Isaiah Garza, and Gael Villarreal. Castillo 1 for 1. He singled to left back in the 2nd inning. As he led off the 2nd inning, now leading off in the 4th. First pitch swung on down the first base line. It's going to get out of play, and it's 0-1.
Noticing the shortstop playing pretty far back, Joe. Literally in the outfield.
Well, Castillo went that direction the first time at the plate, so he knows that Diego's got a pretty fast bat. He figures if he hits one, there it is right at him. So Garrett comes up, fires across his body for out number 1.
So just an observation, you saw the speed of Garrett, how he rushed in on that grounder because it wasn't hit that hard. So you can kind of play that far back and then being able to kind of come forward and make the play. And you saw he also showcased his arm there, making that great throw to first.
Yeah, across his body, too. Isaiah got to the right fielder, hit into a double play back in the 2nd inning. That's a ground ball to second base. Picked up by Lavasser and fired to first for out number 2. So I think 3 pitches and 2 outs.
Yeah, Beacon kind of almost came off of that bag. I think the throw was a little farther than he thought, but was able to get the catch.
So with 2 outs, that'll bring up Gael Villarreal. He is 0 for 1, struck out swinging back in the second inning. First pitch on the outside corner for strike 1. That is right up the middle for a base hit. So Villarreal got a pitch he liked and took it right up the middle.
He's pretty aggressive at the plate. Struck out swinging with an 0-2 count in the second, but yeah, he sees something he likes. I mean, he'll swing that bat and put the ball in play.
So with 2 outs, a runner at first. That's going to bring up the shortstop, Joseph Banda. Banda is 0 for 1 tonight. Struck out back in the second inning. Pickoff play to first. Villarreal back plenty of time. Just a bit low for ball 1. That is going to be on the outside corner for strike 1. Weslaco fans didn't like that call.
I don't think the Buda fans liked the previous pitch, and then the Panther fans didn't like this past pitch. Everything evens out in the end.
Yeah. That is low for ball 2. Ball 3, excuse. Wait a minute, timeout. I've got 2 and 1.
I also have, and you know what? I bet you in the press box they probably thought it was a ball.
Right.
So that's what I have too. 2 balls and 1 strike. We saw a pickoff attempt at first. And notice the second baseman pretty close to the bag at second, so a big area between.
That's low for ball 3. So you and I are right, Mike, because
yeah,
3 balls and a strike.
Right. But you know, see where the second baseman is at.
Right.
Levassar, he's by the bag, and the first baseman, Beacon, is holding the runner on, so a lot of space in between them.
Yeah, right there down. That's right side of the field.
So Banda can pull this one.
And he does. And Levassar, because there's 2 outs, so that'll make 3. I was going to say, because of that, can only go to first. But then again, there were 2 outs, so that'll do it for the Panthers. They do get a hit and leave a runner stranded. Get no one across, and we go to the bottom of the 5th. 1-0, Jags on top. Jags coming to bat here in the bottom of the 5th inning. It'll be Oaks, Garrett, and Montijo, 2, 3, and 4.
So the meat of the lineup coming up for the Jaguars.
That's going to be a base hit right down the third baseline. And will Oaks go to second? He's on his way, and he's going to be in safely with a leadoff double for the Jags. So he really turned on that pitch. Got it right down the line.
Yeah, he hit it at a perfect spot because Lopez was doing his best to guard it, but it was just placed right over the bag, and it was a fair ball.
So that's the second hit of the afternoon for Oaks, and that'll bring up Garrett.
Now batting number 12, Selwyn Garrett.
Garrett is 1 for 1. Reached on a fielder's choice in the first. On a single in the second. Stole a base on both times he's been on, and he scored in the second on that hit from Montijo. First pitch to Garrett is outside for ball 1.
So he has 2 stolen bases, and then we saw in the last inning the Jaguars steal another base. So they have 3 stolen bases overall in this game.
Showing bunt, fouled it back, and the count is 1 ball and 1 strike.
Not a bad idea with Garrett's speed and with the count 1-0.
And trying to move over Oaks, put him, he's in scoring position, but put him 90 feet away.
Sure.
Put him just that much closer.
Well, let's see how the Panther infielders.
One ball, 1 strike to Garrett. Runner at second in Oaks. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 5th. Jags up 1-0. That pitch outside for ball 2. Breaking ball inside for ball 3. Swung on to the second baseman. That's going to be Castillo, who fires it to first for out number 1. But Garrett does move Oaks over to third.
Smart piece of hitting going the opposite way that allows Oaks to move from second to third.
Yeah, because normally the rule is if it's hit in front of you, you're going to not go when you're at second. Hit behind you, you do go. Montijo now at the plate. He's 1 for 2. Struck out looking in the first. Single to left in the third.
That draws the infield in with 1 out.
And the first pitch missing outside for ball 1.
You see Castillo at second, standing almost to the green part of the turf, and Buda creeping up.
Slow breaking ball, missing just a bit high for ball 2. Yeah, the infield playing in as if they get a short or a slow hopper, whatever it may be, they want to keep that runner at third. Just like that. As you see, Reina looks over the runner. Make sure he doesn't go and gets the out.
And notice his patience when he got the ball. As you mentioned, Joe, looking at third, taking his time, and then making sure to get that out at first. And the runner has to stay at third. So great job.
So now there are 2 outs here in the inning, and that'll bring up Thomas Schnabel. And he is 0 for 2 tonight. Has struck out twice swinging, excuse me. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Fastball in there for strike 2.
Two very good pitches by Reina. I think he took something off of that pitch, the previous one. Came back with a fastball.
That's a little low for ball one.
Scoreboard showed 146 miles an hour in the previous pitch. But this one showed 81.
At missing just a bit outside for ball two.
Yeah, that's a pretty neat feature they have here at the ballpark, is showing you how fast those pitches are coming. And Reina has been pretty consistent, going close to 80 miles an hour.
Breaking ball, high chopper to third baseman, picked up by Lopez, firing to first, not in time. Lopez had to wait for that one to come down because that was a high chopper, and the only play was going to first, and he made a great effort, just having to wait for it. So that's an RBI single for Schnabel, his first hit of the day.
Yeah, and Schnabel has enough speed to beat out the throw at first.
So 2-0 Jags on top. Check swing into the netting. 0-1.
Both runs have come with 2 outs, so that's huge for Johnson, getting the clutch 2-out hits.
The runner going, swung on right here. It's going to be just a little bit too high for us. I thought it was going to stay in our area, but now the count is 0-2.
Will they give us some popcorn if, say, we do get one of those?
I want them to bring us a raspa.
Yeah, something.
Bell made a pit stop last week for one.
Says it was good.
That pitch missing inside for ball one.
The wind seems to be blowing a little bit harder now, Joe.
It is picked up. I felt it.
Yeah. Still blowing in the left to the left field corner, but in, as you mentioned earlier.
1 ball, 2 strikes is the count. Runner going again, swung on, again, fouled back, again.
Yeah, the Jaguars have been pretty aggressive with the hit and run. As mentioned, 3 stolen bases so far. They're not afraid to take a chance and go on those steals.
That's going to be right past Reina, picked up by Castillo and tossed over to Banda for the out. But the Jaguars do get 1 run on 2 hits, leave 1 run stranded. We go to the 6th inning, 2-0, Jags on top. We go to the 6th inning. And your Panthers will send up Luis Lopez, Ethan Silva, and Toby Perez. All to face the starting pitcher, Anderson Burnt.
With that being said, Joe, I'm noticing that there's a couple of pitchers that made their way during the break, and they're starting to warm up in the bullpen over there. Perhaps the pitch count for Burton is starting to rack up.
Either that or they're trying to save him a little bit. It is a 3-game series.
It's been a pitcher's duel, though. Pretty well-played game.
First pitch, just a bit low for ball 1. That's going to be an opposite field hit by Lopez to get things started here in the 6th inning. So once again, your Panthers get their leadoff batter on.
Great start to an inning. They need some base runners. I want to say, Joe, that the young man at first is Abel Salinas, number 27.
Did he pinch hit?
I think he pinched hit, yes. I noticed when he was running.
Now batting is number 8, Ethan Silva.
Ethan Silva now at the plate for your Panthers. Abel Salinas is who's on the roster with jersey number 27. First pitch swung on, fouled back out of play. Strike 1.
So let's give him credit going the other way to right field and start off the inning on a good note.
Swung on, fouled back right over our head, and now the count is 0-2.
I hear a Panther fan say, keep battling.
Yep.
Keep battling.
Nothing in 2, the count to Silva.
And the Panthers, too, have somebody warming up in the bullpen.
Going back to Silva. He's back plenty of time.
I can't get a number, Joe, but I see that it's a left-hander warming up for the Panthers.
Yeah, it's way out there. 3, maybe? Matt Cortez, the lefty.
Yes. Yes, they do have a number 3, Matt Cortez.
Swung on, that's opposite field, but it's going to sail out of play. And the count is 0-2.
Ball was hit hard.
Here comes the 0-2. That's going to be outside. Snap throw to first. Not in time. Good job by Salinas to get back on time. Because he was way out there.
Well, yeah, it was a little scary. He got pretty far down, but had to hustle back. Unfortunately, also, the ball was thrown a little more on the foul territory side of it.
That's a fly ball to center field, and Schnabel is under it. He makes the grab for the first out. So with 1 out, runner at first, we go to the top of the order. It's Toby Perez. Perez is 1 for 2 tonight. He singled in the 4th, base hit to left, and he grounded out in the 1st.
Yeah, the top of the lineup.
And that might do it for Burnt. They're starting to hit him, and looks like coach is telling him, I think we're going to do it here. We're going to call it quits. I'm not sure if he's one of the guys that was injured early on in the season. As we were talking about this earlier, Mike, as we talked to one of the coaches, he said that they had some injuries to the pitching staff, and so they were limiting some of their pitchers. But maybe they just needed to calm him down a little bit, let him know everything is okay, because it looks like they're going to keep him on there.
And replacing pitchers is tough. It's really tough. You're asking for other guys to step up that maybe don't have the kind of experience he does. But he's done well so far, going 5 innings.
Allowed only 4 hits so far.
And no runs.
First pitch missing outside for ball 1. That's going to hit the batter, and now we got runners at first and second. So that pitch got away from Burnt. Got Perez on the left hip. They're going to check him out. Perez says, I'm okay. I don't think any kid right now is ready to get out.
He wants to finish this.
Exactly.
Yeah. For the Panthers, this is Salinas is the first base runner to reach second this afternoon. All the other base runners were forced out or hit into a double play. But now with only 1 out, a great opportunity.
Get something going.
Get something going with the meat of the lineup now.
It's going to be Rodriguez due next. He is 0 for 2 tonight. Both times he's been at the plate, he's grounded out to the second baseman, Lavasser. One of them was a double play back in the 4th inning. That's a fly ball to right field. And that's going to drop. They're going to send the runner in. And the Panthers get their first run of the night. A base hit, a Texas leaguer from Rodriguez. Salinas had to hold up because
the right fielder.
The right fielder, the second baseman were coming in, and he wasn't sure if it was catchable.
I think you're right. I think there was a lack of communication a little bit because I noticed the right fielder kind of hesitate a little bit, and then it was too late by the time he got there, and the ball bounced in front of him in a way. So you're right. Salinas had to kind of hold up halfway, but then hustled home. But now the Panthers with an opportunity.
They got 2 runners in scoring position, Mike.
Right.
And that'll bring up John Reyna. This is probably their best hitter. If there's someone you want at the plate in this situation, it's John Reyna.
341 batting average is what he has coming into the game. The infield is in.
First pitch inside for ball 1. And Schnabel playing pretty shallow, in my opinion. Because Reyna has enough pop to knock it over him.
You see Toby Perez kind of trying to play a little chess game with the pitcher, getting off of the bag and kind of clapping his hands. And I think
and here comes Garrett to tell him, hey, get your head in the game.
Yeah, focus on the hitter. What'd you give Rodriguez, by the way?
I gave him a double.
Okay. RBI.
Yeah, RBI double, because that was not touched. It landed safely. Reyna going after that slow curveball, missing for strike 1. So the count is 1 ball and 1 strike.
Reyna does have 13 RBIs on the season.
Foul ball back into the stands. Count is 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Not only are the Panther players, but the Panther fans are getting into it. We've heard the noisemakers throughout. Now we hear a bell.
Cowbell.
A cowbell.
So here comes the 1-2 from Burnt. Swung on and missed, strike 3. So Burnt gets Reina swinging, and that's going to bring up Diego Castillo. Castillo is 1 for 2. He had a single to left in the second, grounded out to short in the 5th.
Big pitch there by Burnt there. Big out. Took something off of that pitch. And Reina was chasing.
That's fouled back. And that's one of the slower pitches we've seen from Burnt. That one is at 73 miles an hour. So 0-1 is the count to Castillo. Castillo calls time. As Burnt was looking over at the catcher trying to get his sign. Maybe Castillo got a little impatient there. Now he steps back in. Fouled back again. Now the count is 0-2. There are 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. Panthers got 2 guys in scoring position. There are 2 outs.
And once again, Garrett playing pretty far back, standing in the green part of the turf.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. And that's going to do it for your Panthers. They do get 2 hits. Do get one run across, but they do leave 2 runners stranded. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It's 2-1. Jaguars on top. Welcome back. Going to the bottom of the 6th inning, and we've got a pitching change for your Panthers. Now on the mound is the lefty, Matthew Cortez. Mom and dad, Steve and Cindy Cortez, are not here, as his big sister, Emily Cortez, is graduating today from A&M University.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's great news there. Congratulations to that family.
So I'm pretty sure they're enjoying it here on KWES.
Yeah, let's see if little brother can come through here.
We've got a pinch hitter, Johnny Duran, batting for the first baseman, Beacom. First pitch in there for strike one. Swings at the second one. Fly ball to right field. Out goes the second baseman, Castillo, and he makes the grab. A very nice catch out there by Castillo in fair territory because he was one step in.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. It was a basket catch, and it was on foul territory, so it could have easily dropped, but nice job there. The numbers on Matt Cortez is he's 1-1 overall with a 2.19 ERA, has pitched a 22 and a third innings, has 34 strikeouts, and has not given up a home run.
That's going to bring up another pinch hitter. This is Parker George. He pinch ran earlier. He's batting for the designated hitter, Joseph Cardona. That pitch missing inside for ball two. Starting to drizzle a little here in Laredo. Just got word that it's hailing in Weslaco.
Oh, no. I hope everybody's okay over there.
Outside for ball three.
They did announce that there was potential for some pretty heavy rain.
4 straight pitches, and Parker's on first base. And this will be the second baseman, Luke Lavasser. So not a pinch hitter. I was looking at the umpire, and he was signaling at the batter, but coach is saying that it was a previous batter. And we did announce that. Parker George, or George Parker, not sure what the name was. That might have it backwards, but. First pitch to Lavasser, missing outside for ball one. That's going to be low for ball two.
It's 2-0. 2-0 is the count.
6 straight balls from Cortez. Now that one is there for strike. So 2 balls and a strike on the batter, Lavasser.
Yeah, with that being said, Joe, Lavasser took that pitch, making Cortez throw a strike, and he did.
A good-looking breaking ball from Cortez in there for strike 2. And those curveballs from the lefty will go in towards the batter. That one is inside. Runner going. Throw on its way. They got him. Got him right on the thigh. Good tag there by Castillo.
A great throw by Silva. And, yeah, you mentioned Castillo getting there in perfect position to apply the tag. Big out right there.
So that'll eliminate the base runners with 2 outs and a full count to the batter, Lavasser. So Silva with a strike, especially picking it up after hitting the dirt. And they walk Lavasser. They'll go now to the top of the order. It's going to be Plummer. Plummer is 0 for 2 and a walk. got caught stealing back in the third on a good pickoff move from Reina. First pitch, missing for ball one. Home plate umpire saying it's a little low.
Kind of hesitated there. Maybe he thought about calling it a strike, but he says, nope. Little low.
Swing and a miss, strike one.
So we've seen the Jaguars go on numerous hit and runs here, even though there are 2 outs. See if they send the runner from first.
Outside, ball 2. Just a bit high for ball 3. That pitch coming in at 75 miles an hour. That's on the inside corner for strike 2. What a beautiful pitch from Cortez.
Got the inside corner, and Plummer even threw his bat, thinking it was ball 4. He's going to go take his base.
But we've seen that area being called all day long. So the count is now full with 2 outs, runner at first. Timeout called by the batter, Plummer, and they give it to him, so the runner will go back. You were talking about a hit and run being on, but again, it is a full count with 2 outs, so regardless, he is going to be going.
Yeah, excellent point there. The runner will be taken off regardless.
Got him swinging! Matt Cortez pitches a gem here in the bottom of the 6th in relief of Reina. Does not give up a hit. Leaves a runner stranded, and more importantly, nobody came in. We head to the 7th inning. Panthers are down by 1. We'll be right back. In a rain delay, we will keep you posted as to the latest news. We are not down close to the field, but we will get this out as soon as we find something out. And I'm pretty sure the public address announcer will announce something here shortly. So once again, we are in a rain delay. As soon as something changes, we will let you know. So stay tuned right here on KWES and Weslaco ISD social media. Welcome back to Unitrade Stadium in Laredo, Texas. It is game one of the best of three series in the area round of the state high school baseball playoffs. As you've been watching, we are in a rain delay, and we have just been informed that this game will be completed tomorrow at 5 p.m. Once again, game one has been postponed until tomorrow at 5 p.m., followed by game two 30 minutes immediately afterwards. So again, we thank you for being patient and hanging with us during this rain delay. But the officials have just informed us that this game will be completed tomorrow at 5 p.m. Game two will begin 30 minutes after the completion of game one. So tomorrow we will see you from right here in Laredo, Unitrade Stadium, as we complete game one of this best of three game series in the area round of the state high school playoffs between the Buda Johnson Jaguars and your very own Weslaco Panthers. Again, 5 p.m. tomorrow, we will complete game one. As soon as that is over, we'll be back 30 minutes afterwards with game two. So we'll see you tomorrow from Laredo right here at Unitrade Stadium. Good night.